think I'm live now, y'all. If I'm live, if y'all can hear me, give me a comment or something like that. All right, y'all can hear me. What's up, CBD Ron? I'm a little bit early. I wanted to tap in with y'all a little early for the folks that came in. Look like it's CBD Ron and Miller CMD. And guys, we're going to talk about a few things. It's probably be like a half hour. Got about 18 folks in here. I can't, when y'all come in, say some stuff, y'all chats will pop up on the joint real quick. And I'll try to read them as quickly as I can. Y'all bear with me for, actually, no, y'all ain't got to bear with me for that. So we're going to rock for about a half. What's good, Scruggs? Hey, Scruggs has been one of our serious supporters. If you guys are not in the, what's that? It's not, is it WhatsApp or is it, it's one of them joints. One of them group joints, the text joints. Scruggs has been super support. Telegram, that's what it is. Telegram joint. If you're not in that, shoot me a DM on Big Daddy Toure page. Shoot me a DM or email me, majtoure@gmail.com. Solutionary University, Solutionary Lifestyle at gmail.com. Aaron G says love from OKC. So guys, you guys know that this is Solutionary. We're a little early. This is Solutionary September. You guys know or may not know that this month we're trying to get through the whole entire fundraising. I'm in the RV now here, especially, obviously, right? We're doing some work, some learning, and some classes through Florida, some gun shows and things of that nature. But for the whole month of September, we're trying to get that goal accomplished. We've been fundraising for a few years now, raising the money, giving the money towards the classes, doing it like that. But we want to get that part done. So givesingo.com/solutionary, obviously. That's the link to donate. But all of your super chats and all that other stuff in here today, that stuff goes towards that as well. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm engaging with you guys a whole lot more as on YouTube and doing these live formats and everything. I just got allowed back onto Instagram Live from the Big Daddy Toure page on Instagram. So if you don't follow me there, you should. Big Daddy Toure, Maj Toure 999, both of those are mine. That's an interesting and weird but good question. Is the Glock 26 good for EDC? We'll go into that in a second. Again, guys, come in, hit the thumbs up button, give it some good energy, give it some love. We're trying to make sure that we get in this. I hope you guys have your questions ready. We're trying to make sure that we get these social media platforms, these lives. I can engage you guys a lot more through this, and we can get immediately onto some of the hotter topics so we can discuss as well as fundraise from them. Creating content that speaks to issues that impact our communities is a very important thing, especially when they're solution-based. It's one thing to talk about whatever the issues are, but then after we discuss the issue, we got to have an action item list, how we solve some of these issues, okay? And if that's going to be the platform, or if we got to be the people that's doing that, then that's what we're going to do. But we got to do that with you guys' support. So again, if you guys got some questions or some perspective and stuff like that, throw the super chats. I'll give those priority because we got to use the resources to keep this machine moving forward. Today's topic it's been a hot topic for the last few days. It translates into personal protection. It translates into situational awareness, conflict resolution, de-escalation, and avoidance. And y'all know we all about that. For those that are not aware of this story, and it'll speak to the overall theme of tonight's live, okay? And we're going to go for about a half hour. Again, anyone that wants to support, do the super chat. Do the super chat. If you got questions, all that other stuff, I want to give those precedent. But I'm new to this social media thing on a certain level, or at least to the live space. So I'm trying to make sure I'm looking at y'all and keeping my train of thought as opposed to reading all of the joints all the time. So those super chats, if you got it, it'll be very, very appreciated and all that other good stuff. And outside of that, givesingo.com/solutionary. donate to the work there as well. And I think there's links to all of the merch and shit like that. So anyway, this young lady, we've affectionately or unaffectionately now referred to her as Brick Girl. Young lady, I don't even know her name. I didn't think to look for her name as soon as I saw the story. Immediately when I saw the story, something didn't really add up to me. I had questions, and I'm biased. Okay, my bias is my past with being falsely accused, and that bias makes me very critical. I'm objective, but I'm critical. When someone is blamed or someone is blaming, I'm usually asking them more questions than the general public would, because we've been in this space where we tell people to just don't ask questions, or ask questions on this side but not on that side. Unfortunately, the area that we're not allowed to ask questions on as it relates to these things is unfortunately a lot of times where the accusations come from, and it happens to be on the woman's side. So this young lady decided to, and that's part of the reason why I never even looked for her name. This young lady said that she was hit in the face with a brick. She went to social media. She had the hospital gown on, and the hospital gown in the hospital. And my first thought process is, if you say that in that space, they're going to ask you, or the police may get involved. Okay? From my understanding, the young lady never got a police report. She never got a police report. So that was then. And we'll get to how this goes and going into the question. I didn't hear of a police report. I saw this big thing, but I never saw any blood on her face. If you have ever hit somebody with a brick or been hit with a brick, scrapes, all that other stuff happens. So that was a question. But I'm not there questioning to discredit. I'm asking questions to learn. Okay, there's a big difference in that. Some people ask questions to try to tell you how you're wrong. Some people ask questions to try to figure out how they can learn more. So you ask that question, and a lot of people ask that question because something just didn't add up. Why are you recording yourself in the hospital? Why are you recording the men that were allegedly there when it happened and not the person that actually did it to you? Just all of these different types of things. Traveler 4444 says, thank you. I believe in your message. This is coming from an old white guy. Second Amendment is for all. Thank you for that $10 support, Traveler 4444. Traveling man, huh? If you know, you know. So there were questions. Other people asked questions, and other people said, how dare you ask a question? And from a self-defense and personal protection standpoint, you should be aware of your surroundings. You should be asking questions. If something does happen, you should be reverse engineering after the situation to figure out where you went wrong in that space. Hopefully, even regardless, even if you're day trading, if you have a great day of trades or a horrible day of trades, you should go back and look over your trades. Maybe you should replicate the trades that you had that were great, and maybe sometimes you'll learn what to stay away from. So similarly in a personal protection and defensive space. So we weren't allowed to ask that question, which quite naturally made more men go like, well, what's up with that? And some women as well. Some women were like, hey, if you want the protection of men, you kind of gotta, listen to them or ask these questions. So forth and so on. It speeds up. And now it starts to create this social media narrative. And the social media narrative is, how dare you ask about women? And if you're questioning anything, this must mean that you think she deserved to get smacked in the head with a brick, or a variation of all of these weird and goofy topics and goofy takes, right? So it created a split. And when a split happens, that's where we have to be very careful. We have to be making sure that we all remember we're on the same team. The government does not care about any of us. And with that is to, and recognizing that is to kind of like keep a clean head and our head square on what the goal and who the enemy and what our enemies are. And that's why I started asking more questions and creating content about it. But pretty much in the beginning, I was a little hesitant. Now, The bigger question, which is the topic of tonight's live, was when all of those men, a lot of those men went into a camp of, that's not my person. I didn't come there with them. I don't know them. I'm not defending any woman that I don't know of, because that turns into men dying. Okay? And on a certain level, I can kind of understand that. I can understand why someone would say that. I can understand why my loved ones, friends, and family would want me to say the same thing. I'm not. I'm also not going to just rush to without evaluating and asking questions. That's just the reality. So, understandable why some people took that position, and understandable why some people would say, oh, that's cowardly. And I don't think it's cowardly. I think there were men that were just a different faction of men that just don't like women. It doesn't matter if she was right, wrong. They just hate women. There's that faction as well. And there's the faction in the middle, which is what I am a part of, which is, even if those was my homies, because again, it was way less context when the story first came out. If that was one of my homies, if that was a random dude, I would have, if he, as the story goes, he asked her for the number. She said no. He picked up the brick and he hit her. And in Houston, in a southern state where southern men are way more respectful than men in the Northeast. I'm from the Northeast. It's not a diss. It's just my experience. Okay. So those things looked weird to me. So, as more of this context is coming out, if who I am as a person, if my homies or this random dude that I don't know and this chick that I don't know, they getting into it, he asks for the number, she says no. If he picks up a brick, I'm gonna try to defuse that situation. If he's belligerent, drunk, and cocaine filled, we might go hands on. We might go, wrap him up a little bit. We might pretzel him down a little bit, but we're going to try to diffuse. Or if it gets really crazy, if he's going really crazy, we clear the garment, we get to the firearm, we start issuing commands. We do what we got to do. Okay? Now, that is for someone that trains or has a certain level of historical reference and training. That makes sense. For someone that doesn't, I understand if you don't want to. If you don't know how to read situations and assess them very rapidly, I could completely understand why you wouldn't want to do anything in that scenario. I don't think that makes you cowardly. In most instances where there's the need for a firearm, unless there's an active situation that there's imminent threat to life, I am a proponent of myself and everyone. We are running. We are 100% winning this fight, the one that we not in. Okay? That does not make me a coward. But in that more specific scenario, if allegedly I'm one of the homeboys or one of the dudes around that's maybe not homeboys, and I see him pick up a brick because the girl asked him for a number and he goes to smack her with the brick, I'm intervening. Most men land there, but most of those men that land there are going to say, I'm going to move carefully, I'm going to have balance, and I'm still going to ask questions, whether before or after. Okay? We don't know if, when that story was initially told, if that young lady was, those guys were there and saw it happen. Okay? Because for some reason she was recording those gentlemen after it allegedly happened for some reason, but those gentlemen was, kind of like whatever. Then this video came out of a gentleman that said he was one of the men that didn't help her. That still doesn't give us clarity on was he there when the smack with the brick happened. But he said she was belligerent, they know her in the community, so forth and so on. Now this story is the first part of the story that comes out. And then social media says they take their camps. Either A, the camp of, I hate women, I don't care, she deserved to get it. B, I'm simping, I love women, believe all women, I'm not asking any questions. Those guys that have any answer outside of this answer that I'm saying, those guys are bad people. Or C, I'm a strong protector, but I'm evaluating the situation. I'm also going to ask questions. Those were the three camps. That's where the division happened. We saw so many of these blue checks and so-called celebrities jump out there, pretending like they cared about black women, but in reality, they were just using this for their political narrative. That's just the reality. They went, I saw my son say something about it. I didn't go too deep, but I anticipate, he always does it. Oh, you cowards is X, Y, and Z. You not talking about, if you saying you wouldn't help a woman, you a coward, you a coward. I don't think that a person is a coward. I just don't think that they live by the ethos that I have. Or if they know they can't fucking fight, they shouldn't. You should know where you at. If you know you are not good with firearms, okay, you probably shouldn't carry one. You should train and be responsible and develop your competence, right? Most beginners to firearms don't feel comfortable carrying with a round chambered because they know in their mind, I am not competent, and because they don't have enough competence, they don't have enough confidence. That's a certain level of honesty with self. So if this person can't fight, that doesn't make him a coward. That just means I'm not capable of doing anything. But these guys jump to this, celebrity-ish type of thing where it's like, you guys that ask questions are cowards. And I pushed back against that. I'm just like, just because dudes is asking questions does not mean that they're cowards. It also does not mean that those men were saying, yeah, she deserved it. They don't mean that they're in a part of the all women deserve it camp. So that's when the split happened. And it brought to a question, which is today's topic, which is, are men obligated to protect and be protectors for the community in general, more specifically women? Or is that just something that's designed for their friends, family, and loved ones, and a potential stranger, maybe if everything, but again, maybe that's for some people, their ethos is just, and you guys can let me know, maybe their ethos is just, I have to get home to protect my family. I am responsible for my friends and family. I'll try to stay healthy and be as safe as possible, but I'm not getting engaged in certain situations. They have multitudes of stories of men and women being in domestic situations. They try to step in. The girl starts to attack the guy that tried to help her. She winds up getting back with the guy. All of these stories exist. They exist, okay? First, you guys tell me your perspective, where you land on it, okay? I'll tell you where I land more specifically or generally. You're going to be hard-pressed for me to see men and women arguing. Women and women, because in Philadelphia there's a lot of lesbian relationships. I've parked my car seeing lesbians argue, hop out to try to diffuse and help. I've evaluated, I've watched for a few seconds to a minute. It doesn't seem like there's any weapons involved. It's just yelling right now. I'm going to get in before it escalates, and let me attempt to de-escalate. The overall goal is walking in with a de-escalation mindset. That's me. And I got a gun on me, right? So you're gonna be hard pressed for me to see a situation where a dude, if it happened this way, guy says, yo, what's up, shorty, give me your number. And she goes, no, thank you, I'm in a relationship. And he picks up a brick. I'm 100% stepping in to defuse that. I'm 100% stepping in. If my cousin calls me and she's up the street and this happens and I show up, I'm there to be available. I'm there to defend. But I'm also going to ask my cousin, because I wasn't there to witness it, I'm also going to ask questions. What were you doing there at 2 o'clock in the morning? At 3 o'clock in the morning? What was happening at such and such? I have to ask questions. Bill Burr has a line of a joke where he says, when firemen, because it's in relation to how we're not allowed to ask questions about certain things. When firemen put out a fire, they don't just leave. They do some investigation. Was it an oily rag? Was it electrical? And it's the same thing here. Okay, it makes sense to ask the question. So that's the camp that I'm in. You guys can tell me your perspective, what you think about what camp you're in. You guys may be in a camp where you like, nah, I'm out. My family's this. Or maybe you were in a camp of, I think all women are liars. You might have had too much trauma in your life from women and you land there. But that's where I land. I think that's a balanced take in a position to have. Now, before we go forward, guys, if you have any questions, please ask the questions. So far, we have one. Askiro Moxie says, nothing wrong with asking questions to get a better idea of what's going on. I don't think that's imbalanced. I think that's true, especially after the fact. If I wasn't there, I would have saw what happened, and I don't have to fucking ask. I was there. I seen it, right? And that was another reason why I was very hesitant initially. So you mean all of these men in a southern state, and it was I think Eritrean or Ethiopian community, right? Down in the South, which is a different cultural mix, so forth and so on, but it's still the South. Generally, if I refuse to believe that, and I just don't believe that most men would just stand there if that happened, and they was like, if it happened that way. So asking questions after the fact, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, guys, tell me the perspective that you land. Which of those three, where do you land? Before we move on, guys, again, we do have a $10 super chat. All of your super chats, let's see if we can get to $200 in super chats. It's 36 or something like that of y'all in here. If, I don't know, if 38, if everybody that's in here gives $10, we'll have $380. We'll do it that way. I am in that middle ground camp. Also, real quick before I continue, Solutionary September. I'm going to mention this a few times, guys. We are givesandgo.com/solutionary. We're trying to get rid of, we have 2,800 and I think 94, something like that. 2,890 is some weird number. Let's say 2,800, close to 2,900 donors at the $100 level to get rid of all of our fundraising for forever. We'll be done with the fundraising drive. So that's a little under $290,000. We're trying to do that for Solutionary September. So if you don't want to give here, if you can't give here, go over to givesandgo.com/solutionary. You guys know the work that we do at Black Guns Matter and the Solutionary Center and the classes abroad. That's what all that goes to. As well as if we get 38 people that are in here to donate $10, that'll go towards that as well. Now, I am in that camp that believes that men are naturally protectors and providers. I don't think that we need to be providing for all of the women all of the time that are not. But if somebody's stranded a bit and happens to be a woman and, you know, her debit card declines and I got some extra cash here, that's just help. As a community, I am of the belief that we are a village. I am of the belief that we are a village. I don't think that we should be advocating for bad actors in our village to get all of the benefits and rewards that more people in our village benefit from that are upstanding or at least attempting to be upstanding in our village. So if somebody's a horrible person, I'm not going out of my way. If I know that this person's a horrible person, no thank you, I'm not interested. If it's a random person I don't know and I still evaluate, but I don't know if they're a bad person or a good person, I'm gonna give them the benefit over doubt and I'm gonna try to help if they're in a scenario. But I'm always gonna evaluate before, during, and after. That's just the balanced approach to life. That's my perspective and that's my take. But I may be wrong. I may be wrong. You guys, I need pushback. I need pushback from y'all. Who is of the camp that, yo bro, you are risking your family having access to you because people are crazy out here. You are risking that because of the fact that you want to be this protector, superhero for the community. I remember I dated a shorty one time, and I remember her saying that, like, oh, you carry a gun and a tourniquet because you're going to try to rush to help the people. Here you come, superhero. And it was like, damn, shouldn't we attempt to aspire to be superheroes for our friends, family members, and community? Maybe I got it fucked up. Y'all tell me. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I just don't think that I am. So that's the overall arching theme of the conversation tonight. Y'all ain't saying much. So if y'all want to say some stuff, say it. But tap in. Tap in, give me your perspective. Because for me, I think that our communities need more leaders and people willing to intelligently and from a de-escalating standpoint attempt to try to help in scenarios where people may need help. I've seen people on the side of the road. I've helped them. I can fight, and I'm violent, and I carry firearms. So I'm not afraid of that engagement, and I'm paying attention all of the time. I think that more times than not, you're genuinely running into a person that could potentially use your help, more so than somebody trying to get you. At least in extreme scenarios or examples, right? The chances of somebody pretending like they're stranded on the road because, you know, they're trying to get me, the chances of that being them trying to get me as opposed to they ran out of gas is better, you know? Let's see. Let's take some of these. My brother, Charles Green says, my brother, we need... Is that the police? Am I doing a lot? Hey guys, I'm getting the pushback from the police real quick. Give me a second, guys. Hold on. Watch out, you got. It's weird, internet. So guys, I have a, whoa, this is a story to tell, guys. So I gotta tap out of this live, guys. Where I'm parked, I guess we're supposed to not be here. So I'm gonna tap back in on Instagram after this, guys. Thanks you guys for listening. And I'll keep abreast. I don't know what it is with me and police at certain times. So appreciate you guys. Talk to y'all in a bit. Peace.